Welcome to our candidate forum. I'm Robin Robinson from 91.3 Hope FM, and we've got the candidates today for Palatka Mayor, Robbi Correa, and the current mayor, Terrill Hill. And these candidates are both no party affiliation, and the race is open to only those that live in the city of Palatka. These candidates have been furnished with a list of questions ahead of time, and each one will have 1 minute to answer each question. We're also going to take turns with who goes first each time, and that way nobody has to answer first or last every time. We do have a timer, and so each person gets just 1 minute to answer, and I'll just ask the candidates to wrap up their answer within a few seconds if they hear the timer. Today's forums are hosted by Hope FM, and also we're partnering with Gospel Vision TV to make sure that as many people as possible are able to watch these and make an informed decision before heading out to the polls for the general election on November 8th. We do not accept any political advertising. We don't endorse any parties or candidates, and so we feel that we can do completely impartial candidate forums, and we hope that you'll check out some of the other ones that we've done as well. Well, let's get started in meeting our candidates. Our current mayor for the city of Palatka, Mr. Hill, will ask you to go first and tell us a little about yourself.
Good morning, Robin. I'm Terrill Hill, mayor of the city of Palatka for the past 8 years. I was elected back in November of 2014. I'm a practicing attorney here in Palatka. I've been practicing since November 1st of 1999. Additionally, I'm a property owner as well as a business owner in various capacities throughout. As the mayor, we've seen a drastic change in the community. It was once considered to be the only dying city in the state of Florida. We've now moved to a point of economic prosperity and growth. We've become the new hot spot in the state of Florida with new recreation, new parks, new streets, new streetscape, new energy, sustainable wages, new housing, and greater opportunities. And so we look forward to continued progress, continued growth, and the opportunity to help improve local life in Palatka.
Okay, thank you. Robbi Correa, tell us about yourself.
Good morning. I'm Robbi Correa. I am the proud parent of 2 sons and a grandson. I'm a formal special needs educator, retired public administrator, and grant writer. I'm currently a licensed real estate agent and have been for 9 years here, and an owner of a small business downtown, Lemon Street Market and Mercantile. Mayor Hill has done some great things, but I feel it is time for a change in leadership. I chose to move to Palatka 15 years ago, making it my home, and I'm one of its most positive ambassadors, I feel. I have the skills and qualifications to help make and create a vibrant city with the partnership of other people on the commission and a place that we can all be proud to call home. I have a combination of both experience in both the public and private sector, as well as with nonprofit organizations. I'm invested in the city as a volunteer and advocate, as well as financially.
Thank you. And Robbi, we'll have you go first for this next question. What do you feel that you'll be able to do and that's different that would help you to be a better mayor than the current mayor? Some of my goals would be to increase communication and transparency via a user-friendly website that does meet ADA requirements. I think that's important. Newsletters distributed with the city utilities bills when infrastructure work and/or road repairs happen throughout the city. Again, increased communication through various types of media, other types of media as well, and increased focus on code enforcement and reduction of blight throughout the city, and encouraging economic development and investment. And Mayor Hill, do you feel that you've made improvements to our city by your service as mayor so far?
Absolutely. When we look at the city as a whole, what we're seeing is the repolishing of the gem city of the St. Johns River. We've got improved infrastructure. We've replaced over 25 lineal miles of water lines within the city. Our sanitary sewer has been replaced. We had a wastewater treatment plant that was 25 years past its shelf life. We didn't have recreation. We now have new parks. We've got new programming. We've got IT, STEM, and after-school programming. We've got youth ambassadors. When you look around Palatka, you see nothing but change and growth and prosperity. And it's something very different than what we had 8 years ago. I think we also have greater efficiencies. When I walked in, we had a city that was running like a mom and pop shop. Today, we've got greater efficiencies. We've got new technology. We've got new opportunities. And we have young people who are coming back and making their families here. And that didn't happen before.
Okay, Thank you. And Mayor Hill, we'll have you start for this next question. Do you think our current infrastructure is adequate for where we are now and for potential growth? And if not, how can we improve?
It's adequate for potential growth because our capacity is only about 30% at both the water plant and the wastewater treatment plant. We've secured over $5 million in funding to replace the infrastructure at the wastewater treatment plant. The water plant is still within its 20-year shelf life, and we've done significant capital improvements, including recently funding new GAC filters there. As it relates to other infrastructure, if you look at our roadways and things of that nature, you're seeing continuous rebuilding of St. John's Avenue. You've seen the paving of the western part of St. John's Avenue. There's a complete paving from Palm Avenue to the riverfront of St. John's, as well as our RAGE grant. Our rail access systems are being upgraded at this time with an $8.1 million RAISE grant funding. And also, when you look at our broadband technology, that's one place where I see great opportunities coming up in the next few years with the likes of people like Larry Harvey, who's state president of the Broadband Committee. It creates an opportunity for us to be able to provide greater connectivity throughout the community.
Thank you. And Robbi, same question about infrastructure and growth.
Obviously, the mayor's gone into great depth, and I think we've made great strides in the city towards improving and replacing the antiquated infrastructure. However, there is much more to be done, and a funded maintenance plan needs to be part of this process. I think part of the reason why the city ended up in the situation it did for many years with antiquated infrastructure was because there was not some kind of plan as to how to maintain it as we move forward, and that certainly needs to be a part of this whole process. I think also the multimodal concept at the train station as part of our infrastructure for people to get here and visit or live here and travel to work is another important piece of what needs to continue and be strengthened.
And also in regards to growth, what types of businesses do you see as working best here in the city, and how do you think we could attract them to Palatka?
I think as far as the business districts of downtown and throughout the rest of the city, obviously we're looking at smaller venues, retail and dining, large or micro industries. I think we do rely on the Chamber of Commerce since we are funding them for that purpose, and they have the economic development expertise. I don't. I won't pretend that I do. But I think, again, how do we attract? What do we have people to attract? I think we can just look around. We have a beautiful river. We have a historic neighborhoods in downtown. We also have affordable real estate prices compared to most of Florida, and that certainly is attracting people here. We do need additional new housing and in apartment type style housing as well, and maybe condominiums for the variety of people that may want to come here. But I think they're going to come. I think what's important is to plan how to do that in a positive way that doesn't have a negative impact on the community, but we certainly want people to come here and invest.
Okay, same question.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. In regards to growth, what types of businesses do you see as working best here, and how might we attract them to our city?
Well, I think it's twofold to the question. I think the concentration has always been on downtown and the riverfront. But there's more to the puzzle than just downtown and the riverfront. And so, yes, there's an opportunity for us to develop small businesses. The 11th Street corridor is a great opportunity for that as well. So to be able to develop and also to create small businesses through entrepreneurial spirits is a way for us to do that with mom and pop businesses, which will bring a smaller number of jobs, but great opportunities for needs within the community. But there's also aeronautics. There's an opportunity to use the airport as a means of bringing in greater jobs and also creating international travel through aeronautical programming that we've already have and proposed. But the other piece of it is to also look at some of the industrial aspects that exist in the business park, such as how Camarco Enterprises came about with their manufacturing. But you can also look at industrial airports and things of that nature, and we've had some interest in those pieces as well. And I think those are going to be the pieces that bring larger jobs into the community, and they provide the access for newcomers.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Hill, we'll go to you first for this one. How do you feel, or do you feel, that you're approachable as a leader and someone who is able to handle citizens bringing you issues, and are you able to resolve them?
I think I'm absolutely approachable and completely accessible. It's interesting. Many times people don't realize. The other day I was actually answering the telephone at City Hall during the storm. I don't think there have been a lot of mayors who've done that throughout the process. I'm engaged in the community. I've been engaged for the 25 years that I've been back in Florida. And so I think accessibility and approachability is probably the easiest part. We continue to have a small community that I've been engaged in, from coaching youth sports to volunteering to funding programming for kids. So I think that at any day a citizen can reach out to me through my business or even through City Hall, and they can find out that I'm there. I have individuals that reach out from social media on. So approachability is the easy part.
Okay. And Robbi, same question. Do you feel that you're approachable and that you'd be able to handle citizens bringing issues to you and that you'd be able to resolve them?
Absolutely. In my past career as a public administrator, I was always available and approachable for individuals who receive services, their families, and all the employees that I worked with, and I would continue to provide that. I have people all the time come into the store and talk about different things. I'm involved in the community with several organizations as a volunteer and have been since I moved here 16 years ago. I got myself right in there, got to know the people of Palatka and Putnam County, and I always feel people come up to me or call me or contact me via social media with questions about the community or anything else. So yes, absolutely.
And in your opinion, what's the most important thing that needs to be resolved in Palatka, and what do you think you could do to lead to its resolution? Robbi.
Oh, okay. Obviously, I think public safety, both the reality and the perception. So we know there are some significant public safety issues in the community that are being addressed and continue to need to be addressed in a variety of ways. And there's also the perception. A lot of pride in place needs to be developed here. People's perception, both locally and beyond, of Palatka has improved, but there's still a lot of negativity attached, and we really need to work on a positive self-image for our community.
Mayor Hill, what do you think is the most important thing that needs to be resolved here in Palatka, and how do you see yourself being the resolution to that?
I think it's the history of segregation and the racial divide that exists in this community as a whole. I think one thing that we have to continually do is address historic harms. As the president of the Florida League of Cities, Florida League of Mayors, one of the things that we talked about was mayors' role in healing community, and we began to have candid conversations. As a citizen here and also as the mayor, we did the same things with our race issue study circles, beginning to have conversations about the most difficult aspects that we have to deal with in our community, and that's racism, that's prejudice, those redlining issues, and really government's role in how we do those things. And so it leads to social gaps in jobs, in wealth, in hiring, in housing, in crime. So as we begin to approach those different pieces and we close the gaps through concerted efforts on the governmental aspect of it, then we'll start to see the floor raise. And as the floor raises, it gives the opportunity for the ceiling to become higher. And so I just think that that's really the most critical piece. And it's really an unpopular piece for many people to talk about because it's uncomfortable.
Mayor Hill, we'll go to you for the next question. Do you think that Palatka is a safe place to live, work, and visit? And if not, what improvements need to be made?
I absolutely think it's a safe place for people to live, work, and build families. I think that it could be safer. I think one of the big issues that we have right now is dealing with deviant activity from our youth, from that young demographic between the ages of 16 and 25. And I think that law enforcement has tried to make certain efforts to do so. I wholeheartedly believe that more has to be done, and it has to be a collaboration between citizens as well as law enforcement and also the faith-based community. And I think that once we do those things, then we'll realize that it's not a single cause situation. In order to do it, it has to be substantial programming put in place, such as recreation, education, and the arts. And it also has to be ownership by communities as a whole to make sure that they also police their own communities and that they begin to be cooperative as it relates to getting rid of deviant activity within their areas.
And Robbi, same question. Do you feel that Palatka is a safe place to live, work, and visit?
I do, and I cycle and walk throughout the city. But I do think, as I mentioned, there are still some things we need to do and take some positive steps, as the police are doing. I believe it's a community issue. It's not just the police or the city's issue. I think, again, making people and getting children involved with our community, our history, our cycling, trails, everything to keep people busy and be recognizable as activities to do within our community. And also, it's important for the police to be there not just when a crime is committed, but all the time, so people are comfortable and familiar with the police officers and are willing to speak to them when an issue does arise. I also think it will be helpful to support the police department with additional resources, such as mental health services, and of course, filling positions as they need to be filled. And I realize that's sometimes challenging based on the market, but yes, we need to keep working at that.
And next question, Ms. Correa, we'll go back to you again. How do you feel that the city departments, employees, and policies are doing in regards to making things accessible and understandable for citizens when they have issues, such as opening a business, applying for permits, or just taking care of day-to-day business?
Again, it's kind of back to question number 2. I think that there is some significant changes that need to be made. Certainly, the website is not very user-friendly. Social media, reaching out to people more. Somebody comes in to open a business, it might be helpful to have a checklist that says, if you want to open a retail store, here's what you need to do. Just some basic stuff. Same with the restaurant. I opened my business. I didn't kind of know where to go and who to go to, but it is overwhelming, and it is something that does not provide incentive to do that. So I think we need to streamline those systems and make and have the folks that offer that information be quite user-friendly, be there to help. How can I help you sort of thing, customer service improvements as well.
And Mayor Hill, same question. Your thoughts on the city employees, departments, and permitting procedures on how people are able to interact with that?
I think the policies and procedures that are in place are absolutely good. The levels of customer service have increased drastically over the last few years. I also think it's a function of daily operation and not a policy from the standpoint in which those things are put in place. I do believe that as elected officials, we have an ability to really have input as it relates to what the culture is. And so we're seeing with the advent of a new planning director, with new planning clerks, who are also beginning to take on additional roles, having new service people within City Hall as a whole. You're seeing the process become better. We're seeing an online ability to do permitting and do some of the things that have not been in place before. And the collaborative efforts with the county through an interlocal agreement allow us to be able to really start to reach out further and to be able to create a unified effort. And so those things as a whole have been pretty good.
And what's your vision for the future of our city if you're reelected as mayor?
The vision continues to be the same, and that's to make Palatka a vibrant community. Palatka is the last snapshot of old Florida. I think more than anything else, it's a melting pot. It's an opportunity for us all to embrace the culture, but to really build the working class up in a way that's far different than it's been before. The communities around us have all outpriced the working class communities here, but this is a place where individuals who are first responders, who are teachers, who are educators, they can come here and raise their families. It's a place where seniors can retire and take advantage of the ecotourism opportunities that exist. And it's also a place where our current citizens can really start to prosper because we're going to invest in them in the same manner that we do in those who are coming here to take advantage of what the Gem of the St. Johns River offers. I think ultimately we realize that the people perish for lack of vision, and we have to continue on with the current vision because it's been tried and proven that economically we're doing much better. We've more than quadrupled what we've had in reserves, and we've implemented programming and funding that allows our citizens and our current employees to grow.
And Robbi Correa, your thoughts on the future of the city of Palatka?
Again, to help create a vibrant city that preserves the character and charm. Our history is one of our strongest points in the city, as well as our environment, ecotourism, heritage ecotourism. Make this a place where people want to come and visit, but also want to live, work, and play, and feel safe in doing so.
And as a Christian ministry, of course, our listeners and viewers are interested to know what role your faith might play in your service as mayor. Ms. Correa.
Okay. Basically, my goal and my faith leads me to believe I should strive towards an inclusive and tolerant community that welcomes everyone regardless of their beliefs.
Thank you. And Mayor Hill, what role does your faith play in your service as mayor?
My faith had me run for office. Being obedient to the Spirit and really listening to what God had spoken to me, it allowed me to be able to run, because the message that continued over and over was love thy neighbor as thyself. I saw a community that was divided. I saw a community that was hurting. People that were hurting oftentimes say that Palatka is a lot like the Israelites, but I wholeheartedly believe that this community has prosperity in it. I believe that it's the land flowing with milk and honey. And I think that just my belief in God allows me in all ways to really just acknowledge the blessings that have been poured before me. And the vision has continued to be pushed forward. And I've seen Palatka change in a lot of ways from the time in which I first came back home to 2013, when the negative aspects were really broadcast throughout the state. And I've watched God move and start to create the one Palatka under God concept, because until we're all on one accord, this community won't prosper in the way that it should.
And before we wrap things up, are there any other areas of concern that you feel should be addressed that we haven't covered, Mayor Hill?
Yes, I do. I think there are a couple areas that are really of concern as we look at this in totality. Housing is critical. We really haven't talked a lot about housing, minority relations, the advent of creating minority-owned businesses within the community, and from a contracting standpoint, local preferences, recreation, programming, all those things, the advent of the Jenkins Middle School gym, they're all great. And one of the major issues that we also have is health. When we talk about the health of this community, looking at cancer rates, looking at where we rank statewide in the lower three from a county's perspective, being able to continue to promote initiatives like the Mayor's Health Challenge as ways to get citizens engaged and really taking a stronghold on what our health is, those are all areas that we can actually start to grow from.
Okay, thank you. Robbi, same question. Any other areas that we haven't covered that you'd like to mention?
Definitely attainable housing, which is a bit different than affordable, which we also need, but attainable for those people who do provide the services to make this community function. Also, employee job satisfaction and morale. I think that needs some improvement. Create a pride in place movement, have the community be proud of the place they live and be positive ambassadors for the community. And also a greater focus on the arts. We have a strong arts community, a lot of local artists. We have Florida School of the Arts, and I think we don't recognize that as much as we should and capitalize on it as well.
And why do you think that people should elect you to be the next mayor of the city of Palatka?
I have a lot of experience as a public administrator, as a small business. I also have an ability to listen to other people's concerns and value their ideas and take them into consideration, not just assume I know everything. I'm patient and persistent, too. So I will see that a job is done and hang in there with it, and also recognize that Palatka is a city management form of government, and I am one voice on that commission and the chairperson if I'm elected. I do not make all the calls, so it has to be working with others.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Hill, why should people re-elect you?
I think it's real simple. I've spent 8 years as the mayor in a community that's prospering, not just sitting on committees or doing some of the other things that are around. I've also been the president of the largest organization of mayors in the state of Florida. We've watched our commission as a whole grow and prosper statewide. We've watched the community begin to transform. And we now have $61 million in current projects that are going on inside the city of Palatka. We hire public information persons to put in certain objectives or communicate within the community as a whole. And there's been a distinct difference between leadership as opposed to doing things from a staffing perspective. I believe that there's only one logical choice to make in this election, and that's to stick with what's working for Palatka, what's improving local life, and what's making Palatka the gem of the St. Johns River once again.
Well, thank you both for your time, and I applaud your efforts. You're both very involved in the community, and we are very fortunate to have both of you among so many other people to help to make this a better place to live and to work, and we appreciate both of you taking the time to come in today. Our candidate forum is available to you as a voter to help you make an informed decision. We have others that we hope that you'll watch. They're available on our YouTube channel or with the link on our website, whif.org. Again, we are a nonprofit ministry. We don't have any political advertising or support or endorse any particular candidates or parties. We just want to help you make an informed decision. If you have any questions about your polling place or when early voting is or anything like that, please contact the Putnam County Supervisor of Elections office. And do be sure to go and vote. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you.